As we promised, we have a special guest in our booth. Johnson takes outside. It is the commissioner of Major League Baseball, Alan H. Bug Selig. Bud, how you doing?
Michael, nice to be with you. Ken?
Thank you.
Pleasure. I'm doing fine. This is one of my stops visiting every franchise, and I've had a really wonderful day here.
Now, you made it a pretty special day for Derek Jeter as well. You gave him the Commissioner's Historic Achievement Award. What's that about?
Well, I give it not often, but I give it to people who have made a significant and great contribution.
Kelly Johnson hits one deep to right. Going back, Ichiro looking up. See ya. Home run for Kelly Johnson, and the O's lead 1-0.
And so today was my day to give. I've looked forward to this for a long, long time because Derek Jeter has been the face of baseball. There's no question about it. And when you think about everything in life, to have Derek Jeter the last 2 decades be the face of baseball, we're lucky. Grateful, and that's what I wanted to tell him. And
Major League Baseball, through you, made a very generous donation to the Turn 2 Foundation, $222,222.22. The only bad thing for him is that he didn't have number 9.
Yeah, that's right. It could have been a lot more. Yeah, but he's great, and I really look forward to it. And I told his parents again today. I've told him this often over the years, but they did some job raising him. And when I think how lucky we are to have our face have been Derek Jeter, wow.
Do you see any player or current player able to take over that man?
Well, you know, Ken, as I said today at the press conference, you know, somehow the sport is so good and the players are so good. We always find guys. I mean, Henry Aaron and I have been friends for almost 60 years, and when he was the face of the game, you couldn't do any better. And then into your era and my era, guys are good. And yeah, I see people that are coming along, but Derek is really special, really special.
J.J. Hardy hits a ground ball to Jeter, who fires the first for the first out. Not only is this Derek's last year, but you are going to be retiring at the beginning of next year. Of all the things that have happened in baseball during your tenure, what's the one you're most proud of?
I guess, Michael, the economic changes, because they really saved the game in the 90s. We were in a very tough position and had to go through a lot of heartache. A lot of things. I'm proud of the labor piece, which has enabled the game to grow, and the wild card and a whole series of other things. But if we don't make the economic changes, we're not where we are now.
How about the game growing worldwide?
Big, Ken, and it's going to continue. In fact, I regard that in the future. Rob Manfred and I have had this conversation many times. I regard that as a real opportunity in the next 10 years. This sport will go international and will grow. We won't recognize baseball. That's how big this is going to be.
They mentioned Rob Manfred. He is going to take over your position. And, you know, baseball did very well. He's a pretty bright man.
Very smart. Very bright, well-trained. He'll do a terrific job, no question about it. No question about it.
Now, what are some of the things? I mean, nothing's perfect in life. What are some of the things the game has to tighten up, you think?
Well, you know, I just appointed a committee to study the pace of the game, although I want to be very careful about that. John Sherhouse of the Atlanta Braves is the chairman, and, you know, there are things to look at there, but overall, sport is so healthy right now. I guess what I would say to you, if there's a lesson to be learned, the thing to be learned is let's just have peace, quiet. I always say to the clubs that when you can concentrate on the game on the field and not be talking about labor strife or this or that, and boy, we have really proved that. So it's not always easy to do, but that's what we should do.
Now, when you think about changes, everybody's talking about speeding up the game. Is that something you would try and implement in the minor leagues first and then let it gradually get to the big leagues?
Well, that's a great question. We're going to try, from talking to John Sherhouse and Joe Torre and others in the Arizona Fall League, we're going to experiment with some things this fall. Watch them and then see how it goes. But I think there's some things we can do, frankly, that won't impact things all that much. But for instance, a pet peeve of mine, hitter gets in the box and he's out after every pitch. And there were many years, Ken, you'll remember that never happened. And so there's things we're talking about.
Runner goes. Ball fouled back.
Now, that being said, I do remember Mike Hargrove.
Yeah, well,
and he stood in the box and just took forever to get his batting gloves together.
And you know, everybody, that's funny you bring it up because everybody tells me that's where it all started. What do they call them? The rainmaker.
Yeah,
human rain delay.
Human rain delay.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness gracious. It drove everybody crazy, and I think that's when it started.
Is there any concern, Commissioner, about offense being down? You've got shifts now. You've done your best to clean up this game.
Right.
Home runs are down. Is there a concern on your side?
Mike, what I would say to you is that everything in life runs in cycles. I remember in the late 60s where pitching had really taken over and they wanted to lower the mound and wanted to do this and wanted to do that and so on and so forth. From studying the minor leagues and that, I think we'll work our way out of this. I'm not overly concerned about it. Your pitching has taken over for a lot of reasons, and you can guess them as well as I can, but it's there's no question about it.
A lot of hard throwers in the bullpens. I know that.
Boy, there are, and they keep coming at you, don't they?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, Michael kind of mentioned it. Do you think we'll ever clean up the PED situation?
I think we virtually have already, and I'll tell you why I say that. Now, nothing is. Michael just said nothing is perfect, and he's right. But one of the things I've enjoyed a lot is working with the professional athletic trainers, and I mean really closely. And they all tell me, along with the team physicians, that things have never been any cleaner. We banned amphetamines. We have this that may be causing some of the problems that we talked about.
Right.
So everybody says we have the toughest testing program in American sports, and I think maybe in America. WADA, the World Anti-Doping Association, says we couldn't do better than we're doing right now. So while we have to be vigilant and have to be concerned, Ken, I think we're doing great. I really do.
Nick Hundley takes inside. Runner on first base. Kelly Johnson's home run has given the Orioles a 1-0 lead. We're visiting with the Commissioner of Baseball, Bug Selig, as he's making a tour all around baseball. This is your 21st park?
Yeah, and I'm going to see you guys in Boston on Saturday, I guess. I'm going to be there. So, yeah, this is our 21st park.
Now, you've been getting as many gifts as Derek Jeter has been getting?
No. No, but I have gotten some great gifts.
Okay.
And Derek Jeter actually surprised me when I was talking to the whole Yankee organization today. He brought a wonderful gift in. Joe DiMaggio was my hero as a kid growing up, so they gave me quite a wonderful gift today. It was very nice. But no, I would say we said today our career is paralleled, and these are farewell tours, but mine's a little different than his.
Now, I remember the last time we had the pleasure of having you in the booth. You mentioned your three favorite players were all time: Joe DiMaggio, Hank Aaron, and Robin Yount.
Yes.
Now, I played against two of them.
Yes.
And I was kind of a young player when Hank came along, and I just looked at him in awe. And I could see why he would be somebody's favorite player.
Well, I've known him now, Ken, for I think we first met in 1957. So it's a long time ago. And I guess all I can say about him is he's the same wonderful, nice human being today that he was then.
Yeah.
And success never really changed him at all. You'd never know he's a guy that broke Babe Ruth's record, but he's just a wonderful guy.
Yeah, I saw Robin Yount break in with the Brewers back in the day, and he was 19 years old.
He was 19 years old, yeah. I remember telling our guys at the time, Del Crandall was the manager. I remember telling boy, he's too young to play in the big leagues, and they just looked at me. I think what they thought is a good thing he's not making any baseball decisions. And Rob did all right from the start, as you know.
There's a ground ball up the middle and through for a base hit. Paredes round second. He'll go to third, so a single for Hundley. Runners on first and third with 2 outs here in the second, and the Orioles lead by a score of 1-0. A lot of players, and this could be a deeper discussion than just 1 out's worth, but a lot of players, and the Yankees, I guess, because the Yankees are so popular and they play a lot of national games, they talk about always being tired because getting into town, and I'm not naive to television revenues drive a sport. Is there a way to change that there's not as many night games and arriving the next day?
Well, you know, that's interesting because in all my years in running the Milwaukee club, on Thursday afternoons I always played a day game.
Right. Even
when schools were in session, and maybe because I think our fans like day games. I really believe, and I talk to clubs all the time, Michael, that we ought to try to be as conscientious about that as possible. And on getaway days, we ought to play day games. You know, after all, to play a night game, and then have a club have to fly either west to east or east to west. Yes, that does take a toll on people, and I think that's not in our best interest.
Because I think that sort of thing leads to injuries after
No question about it. Absolutely right.
0-1 count on Nick Markakis, who singled in the first inning. Is there a concern on your part, Bud, about all of the Tommy John injuries?
Yes. Now, we have a committee now, Dr. Andrews, out of our team physicians, people out at Dr. Job's own clinic. So we have everybody involved. Look, early in the year, I hated to pick up the paper in the morning because every day there was another Tommy John. Yes, I'm very concerned about it. And there have to be reasons out of it.
There's a base hit to center field for Markakis. Scoring is Paredes. Hundley will move to third. It's an RBI single for Markakis, and the Orioles lead 2-0. I always like the story that you've told us, and you told me on center stage when you came to Yankee Stadium as a kid, and they brought a cake out for Casey Stengel, and you thought it was about you.
July 30th, 1949. My mother brings me here for my 15th birthday, and we're sitting in the upper deck, and I'm a Yankee fan in those days, big Yankee fan. And we're here at about 1:45. Here comes a huge cake being rolled out in the field. And, of course, in those days, I thought the whole world revolved around me. And I said to my mother, how could you do this to me? This is embarrassing. She looked at me. Well, it was great. It was Casey Stengel's birthday.
How great is that? So it was your mom who got you involved in baseball?
Yes. Yeah, my mother was a huge fan. And from the time that I can remember, my mother was a school teacher, but she loved the game. And time I was 2, 3, 4 years old, she was listening to ball games. As a result, so was I.
Was she a Yankee fan, or?
No, she in those days was actually a Milwaukee Brewer fan, the old Triple American Association team, and a Cub fan because, of course, the Cubs were 90 miles. But I became a Yankee fan because of DiMaggio, and so I loved here today looking at all the pictures. And I was talking about Joe Collins, not realizing his grandson works for the Yankees. And so as soon as I said Joe Collins, but it brings back a lot of great memories.
You know, they've done a pretty good job of bringing a lot of the old stadium feel to this stadium, particularly with the pictures when you walk in the concourse there.
Absolutely right. It's tremendous.
So are you going to be bored when you retire? What are you going to do?
No, I'm not going to be bored.
You're a busy man.
I'm going to teach at either 2 or 3 universities, right, to start with, and I'm going to write a book. And so I'm going to be, when I was a kid in college, I wanted to be a history professor. And interesting, it took me to age 80 to finally become one. So, no, I'm going to be really busy. There's one thing about it, you don't want me bored. And my wife, of course, says you just find things to do. You know, bored.
Now, if you teach a class and I take it, do I get an automatic A because we know each other?
Oh, I don't know about that. I tell you, the course is Sports in American Society. I'll probably go back to the Jackie Robinson Institute, which I regard with great awe, even to this day. And but I'd like to have you in the course, and then we'll see how you do.
Can you take it online?
Yeah, well, I think you'll be able to.
Yeah.
Will that be at Wisconsin?
Yes, University of Wisconsin in Madison.
And that's where you went.
That's where I went. That's right.
The Oakland A situation, any end to that?
Well, we're talking. Unfortunately, San Jose has sued us, so we have a little bit of thing. But we're really working hard on trying to. You have 2 franchises with really strong, different views on life. And tough being in the middle of it, but we're doing okay. And I think, I hope before I go we have it solved.
Bud, congratulations on a great run as commissioner. Enjoy the rest of the time, and really have a great time in your retirement.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you so much for coming up here.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure to see us all.
Thank you.
Thank you.